Kia ora level 2 PE whānau. So today we'll be looking at socio-ecological factors. So something that's really important when we're talking about societal impacts or personal impacts or even interpersonal impacts that a sporting event or any event or action has upon all of those people affected by those factors. So it's an absolutely crucial or critical idea and theory that we'll also be utilizing when you write up your report on the Commonwealth Games. So, without further ado, our koronga ako for this lesson is as follows. Understand and apply the following sociological factors. So, personal, interpersonal, and societal, otherwise known as socio-economic. Now, this falls under the PIES acronym, P-I-S-E, which you'll become more familiar with as you go through this assignment, this content, and your reading lists. So, without further ado, socio-ecological factors. We'll begin by looking at personal or individual. So, factors that are personal relate directly to the individual, i.e., the author or the writer. So, this will be you, the person who's watching this video. So use your own personal experiences that relate to the topic being investigated. Now these can include, but aren't limited to, previous experiences, whether that's as an athlete who competed or competes in the sport, or as a spectator, whether you're a fan, a casual watcher, or you just tune in to watch different sports as they become available for viewing, like the Commonwealth Games with those pop-up channels. Personal skills and knowledge, so interlinking with personal experiences here, so your understanding of the structure of the game or the sport, the structure of the organization around it, also the rules, the requirements, and the skills needed to be a successful athlete within that area. Participation and or interest levels. So this is also relating to, again, you personally and the amount of time you've actually spent watching or playing this sport or game or training for it as well. It also involves the amount of time you spend discussing this particular topic or sport, as well as research time allocated to it. So again, individual, otherwise known as personal, relates directly to your interactions or how you're affected by either the event, in this case the Commonwealth Games, and particularly the sports involved in it, or by something that's occurring and its effect on you and your interactions with it. So next up we have interpersonal. So interpersonal factors. Now I really like this picture because I think it really demonstrates this well, with the family taking a photo of this ice hockey match with the baby pressed up against the wall, already supporting his team. Okay, so from this picture we can tell that it draws upon your interaction with your family and peers and friends. Okay, so what this covers or entails is a historical and current family members involved with the sport. So if you have a relative, whether it's your cousin, your grandfather, could be your great grandmother, who was an athlete or involved in the sport at a professional level or a semi-professional level, as an athlete or a coach, or even a manager or someone within the system. So those are all important interpersonal factors that you can list and utilize. So interactions too with your family and friends. So that could be something as simple as discussing it during interval or over a meal with your family or friends, as well as spectating together. So it could be something that you bond with a particular friend, or you bond with your father or your mother, your sister or your brother, whilst watching these sports or the Commonwealth Games again, for example. Also incorporates social activities stemming from the sport or the activity. So it could be going to a fundraiser to support the sport that you're interested in. Could also be going on a family trip over to the Gold Coast to watch the games in person. Also includes your attitudes and behaviour of peers towards the activity. Personal is your own personal ones. Interpersonal are the attitudes and behaviours of those around you towards the sport and activity, and the effect too that can have on your thought of the sport. Now our final one, moving into societal, otherwise known as socio-economic. So by the socio-economic, I'm sure you can work out that it's going to be social factors as well as economic, right? And other factors surrounding that. So for the whole of society. So use both information regarding economic and social impacts that the sport activity event has on society. So it's the wide range of factors that influence sport and culture that are incorporated with the personal and interpersonal. So these can include revenue generated by events, the event itself, ticket sales, sponsorship, advertising, for example, too. Okay, so again, you can start to see how this is having an economic impact as well as revenue generated can have a societal impact too. The relationship between the activity and national identity and image. Now, something that's really important, like the Olympics, a lot of let's use some te reo in this is the mana that is associated with the country, the power and presence that it has on an international scale, can be linked in with the amount of medals or success generated at both the Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games, which is why it's so important to do so well from a societal perspective. Plus, there's also the thought or train of thought, which I'm sure you'll have picked up in some of your readings, that the idea that the more successful top level or elite level athletes within a country are, the more it encourages the people of that country to get involved in sport and to have healthy lifestyles through that. But that's a topic for another time. Also, the relationship between the activity and national identity. So, again, if you're winning, enhances the mana and the morale of that nation. Commercialization of a sport or event. This is another really key thing where we talk about potentially looking at boxers at an Olympic and Commonwealth level. They're amateurs, they're not paid for their fights, whereas you look like a guy like Floyd Mayweather making millions and millions of dollars being a professional athlete but cannot compete in that amateur level. Okay, also professional athletes, so we've got the Super Rugby team or teams, you've got all of the commercialization of teams where they're getting paid full time to be athletes, okay, and to do their sports. Also, the effect on local populace. So, the topic that we looked at last time round was the Rio Olympics. Okay, now there was forced relocation that occurred from that. A crime rate increased as well with robberies and muggings of tourists. New infrastructure being built, so that's also an interesting one for the Commonwealth Games. Or revamping of previous infrastructure, which was something that was really cool to see the Gold Coast Committee doing. And increased traffic or density of population. So you can see just from these points, there is a vast effect that a sporting event or competition, right, or a sport itself can have on you as an individual, the people around you, so covering interpersonal, and also society as a whole. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope this prepares you adequately enough to really start digging in deep to the effect that the Commonwealth Games has had on all of these three factors, as well as being able to apply it and discuss it further in your critical thinking. All right, thanks very much. Ka kite anō. Catch you next time.